everyone. Welcome to Mask Live. Today's episode is on health and wellness. We will be discussing how you can help your children create a foundation of physical and emotional well-being. How are you balancing your everyday life with health and wellness? Are you modeling a good, healthy lifestyle? In this episode, we will be talking with Christina Ivanhoe, a board-certified health and wellness coach who has been trained in innovative coaching methods, practical lifestyle and management techniques, and over 100 dietary theories. We're excited to tap into Christina's expertise and help you learn how to infuse joy and satisfaction in your life. We will be live for the next 15 minutes, so feel free to join in to ask the expert questions and ask Chris anything you may have. And I just want to thank Chris for being here today. We're so excited to have you, and I'm so excited to kind of have this next episode live with you. It's been a while for me, and just excited really to tap into this because I need to hear it overall. I mean, as parents, right, we're always the last on the list, and if you put yourself too long on the list last, things are going to happen that are not so good. So anyway, so let's start. Chris, I know kind of your story, but I want our viewers to understand, like, what made you kind of go down this path of what you're doing today?
Of course, you would make me almost cry right at the beginning. So I will try not to cry because I'm a crier. But, there we go. I raised myself as a kid. And I lived in a home with my dad left when I was 4. My mom was an alcoholic. I learned how to drive when I was 11. And I was my own parent. I was my own self-talk. I was who, fed me. I was the parent that, most of us have parents, right? I was for me though. And you go through life and you learn these things that you're not worthy. You learn, I ate macaroni and cheese and, forever. And I didn't learn any of how to be healthy. I didn't learn any of it. I didn't learn love. I didn't learn. So what I've always had a deep desire to, I've never wanted anybody to feel alone because I always felt alone. And so I know in life, it's a journey, but we all have to do it together. It takes a village. And I think, us as parents, and in the community, we don't really understand what health and wellness really is. It's not all, like, the first thing I learned in school was about your primary food, and it wasn't food. It's your relationships. And it knocked me on my feet because I was like, I've never heard that before, but it's true. So it really made me, I'm going to chill through my whole body. It made me really want to impact as many people as I could, because the more people know how to live healthy and with boundaries and to feel good and how for us to be better parents, the better off we'll be and we'll be happier.
For sure. There's so many people that we talk to, and, I always love to learn about why people do what they do. And like we were talking earlier, so many people that their passion comes from their past, and it's a choice to change that cycle. So they're not reliving that past or imposing that past concept on raising their kids today. So thank you for sharing that. And the heart behind everything is what moves people and motivates people for change. So I love it. I love it. So let's start with our questions. So based on what, so much of what we learn as parents was what we were modeled as children. And so how can you catch yourself and keep yourself from repeating unhealthy behaviors?
Honestly, the first I would start is you have to it's a daily practice. It's a daily, it's not something that it's like a task that you're gonna, accomplish or whatever. It's not something that is like there's an end goal. Well, there's an end goal, but there's not like something that's gonna finish. You have to daily be intentional about how to reframe that, and how, like, you have to fill yourself up. It's like you're a plant. Like, you have to fill your soil, right, with good things, so that what comes out of you is going to be good things. You have to be intentional on, okay, well, I didn't like this. For instance, like, there's things that we'll say, oh, I don't want to do it because that's what my parents did. In fact, we do that exact same thing. And then it's like a cycle, but you have to really look at yourself and know that you're worth it. One, because, like how you talked about the list, we as parents and as people, we put ourselves last, and we don't necessarily, there's so many reasons why, but you have to put yourself first, and you have to build that foundation of your soil of good things, like listening to, I have a, daily devotional I read every morning. I have, a Jesus calling. And listen, there's no handbook, right? We don't get a handbook when we get these kids. So you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You just have to search for it. Like, things are not going to show up on your lap. I mean, you can pray to God, and I can tell you plenty of stories that God has really just shown me. But my point is, you have to go look for it, and you have to want it. And you have to know that you're making a difference in your children's life, whether it seems like it's, not that easy for you, because it isn't. But the other side of it is, after I've done so much of the work, I'm still a work in progress, but there's freedom. There's freedom when we grow. So you have to know that every little step is going to help you and help your family be better people.
So is there like because they say in order to change behavior, it has to be 30 days. There's like this technically a number. Is there certain things that maybe you share with people that you're working with to help them shift to that
I
thinking?
do. I actually have a card that I give them, and it's a daily affirmation that you say to yourself, and it's a daily affirmation that you can say for other people too. Um, but you have to start somewhere, and I always remind them that it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel so awkward, and you're going to feel like the biggest dork looking in that mirror, going, "I am worthy. I am beautiful. All these things. I love you." You're going to feel like a dork, and it's okay, but so what? Find humor in it. And then, I always tell them to write, like, either whatever makes them happy, like a smiley face or something on their calendar, so that they can build the progress. Because even though we're adults, or even my teenagers that I have, you want instant gratification in a way of that you can go, I did that today. All right, I want another heart tomorrow. Seems so silly, but it's simple and it works.
Well, it's that reward system. We all want
Yes, yes.
system.
Right.
Doesn't matter how old you get.
No, no.
So when you're, how can you set those right examples for your kids when it comes to overall health and wellness?
I would go back to, we have to walk the walk. We have to model it. I mean, I screw up all the time. But I also, um, I don't let my daughter not hear me say I'm sorry if I mess up, or we're not perfect, but if we could just walk the walk and really think about how would we want them to behave, right? And how do we want them to be with their kids? And really, what do we want? You just have to walk it, and you have to, constantly be, and, doing things with them, and talking to them, and, walking alongside them instead of at them. That's, if I could say, that's probably one of the most important things. And I say it even to clients, like, I am here to walk alongside you, not at you. You're an adult, you're a teen, but I'm going to walk alongside you so that there's no judgment, so they feel safe. Because that's the other part, you never know.
Well, I think it's like as parents, we have such great opportunities to model, overall health and wellness, coping skills when we're challenged with things. I
That's
mean,
right.
just for me personally, the last couple of years I can write a book
Yes, you
about
can.
challenges and struggles and all of that. And for me, it was really important. I like my glass of wine at night when I cook, and but through the challenging times, I didn't do that because even though that's not a coping skill I use, it's more of a cooking thing,
Right.
but eyes are watching. And so I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. My daughter knows I'm struggling. And I'm going to shift that. And so for once, I'm back exercising.
Good for
It's
you.
been too many years. And I shifted that to, no, this is my coping. This is my healing. And I've been biking, and I'm just kind of saying it vocally in my family, like I'm grieving through the miles, because I'm giving myself the time, which never have I, and
Right.
the serenity in just being with that. And so, though my daughter, I'm not too sure how much she's seeing that, but it's shifting how I do things. And so I'm hoping that will last an imprint on her of, when times get tough, it's okay to take time alone. You don't have to apologize for putting yourself on your list, because in order to keep pouring out everywhere, because as business owners, as having the passions that we do and being the parents that we are, like, you as moms, you can't apologize for putting yourself on that list. And so that's kind of, it's taken me a number of years to get here,
But you're here.
I'm here. And so that's just kind of the journey that we're on as parents, right? And
Right.
as women, and individuals. So
Well, and that's the truth. Like, I think that you're exactly right on that whole, and I don't think it's ever too late, because she's watching how you respond to emotions and do things. And she also, it made me think about, like, we have to show them, not right, just like what you said, not to put ourselves on the back burner, because if we do that, we're showing them how to do that.
right.
And I mean,
And to
like,
be sad. And to be sad. Like, I've had to tell, and my family doesn't like me sad,
right,
and
well, no.
I was like, I'm sad, I'm grieving. Like, I have to. This is part of healing. And if I'm ever going to get to the other side, I have to allow myself to go through the processes. And maybe I'm quiet. Maybe I need to be left alone. But everybody deals with things differently. But just being vocal about it and following through, it's not easy, because there's even points where I feel like, gosh, am I being too quiet? Am I being too sad? And I'm like, no, like, we're given all of these emotions to feel, and I'm doing a disservice to myself and just the process if I'm not fully engaged in it. So
Mhm. Well, and a lot of times too, if you shift, they shift. That's the truth, because you're moving it. So you're moving your flow. So once you shift and you're not doing your normal, they're like, well, hold on.
what's
And
going
that, right, I'm not sure what's going on here, but then they start to shift, and that allows them to grow. So you're really doing, we as parents, and we think that's selfish, but you're actually helping your whole family, because everybody else is shifting too, because they're like, wait a minute, which is good.
right.
It's hard for us, but that's why God picked us, right?
Yeah,
I
for sure.
mean,
Gosh. So let's get into a few things before we take a break. So I want to shift over just overall fitness and food. And so, how important is it to be aware of how our own negative self-talk, what that's doing when we do it in front of our kids?
um, well, it's very important. They're watching again, and it's so important, because if they see us going, oh, I'm fat, or I've gained weight, then they start to look at their own self. Well, am I fat? So we really are like their world. And I know that we don't, but they're watching. And I think that if we can shift to, oh, I have to get larger jeans or whatever, we're not even saying anything about it, because really it doesn't matter, but teaching them also, like, you know, that things are to nourish you. Like, okay, we're going to go work out and we're going to do that because it makes me feel good. It may, and the endorphins get moving and, you just feel better. Or like with food, you're like, I'm going to eat these berries because I know, of course, I'm like an encyclopedia, I know all of I mean, I think my family's tired of hearing of whys of the whole thing instead of going, this is, blueberries are really, they're very nurturing for me and they feed my soul and they're healthy and they're great for my liver. And, I don't say all that to them, but you just say this is nourishing me instead of like, this is a healthier food. Like you have to really unlabel things
Right.
because there's a label on everything. And we have to teach our kids to really adjust to, because there's labels everywhere, and to adjust to those labels because they're not, that's not who we are.
Right.
And teach them good, coping skills, meaning like, again, like this is healthy for me. So this makes me feel good.
Right. I think it's so important, especially when it comes to, people talking about dieting and labeling foods. Like, what is your take on that?
Well, I mean, I learned 101 dietary theories. And the first thing my instructor, said is you're going to learn all these theories and none of them work. Because if you think about it, let's think about really life. Like they don't. It's a lifestyle change and you really have to hop on board or not. Like either take the step, get on the arc and just go, or just don't. Like whatever, you're prolonging it because I don't care what anybody says. At the end of the day, they do go to like, I want to lose weight. It really does come down to weight loss. I mean, we can, but it's true. So if you want that, then you have to figure out how to do the long term. Like the diets don't work because the minute that you stop your low carb, you've taught your body, like you've freaked your stomach out, you've freaked your gut out. Your body's like, where are the carbs? And so the minute that you eat them, your weight is going to come on and it's going to come on quicker and faster. And then you're going to be defeated again. And then you're going to go back on that roller coaster. I mean, they make money off diets because we just keep hopping on. Oh, this is a new one. This is a new one. No, you have to like balance it out. Go back to the basics. If it didn't come out of the ground, probably don't eat it.
That's true.
I mean, drink water, right? Spring water. I mean, we have to really, diets don't work. They don't.
And just the word, that our kids are hearing. If they're hearing about this diet or this diet, we're not setting them up for success, for long-term
No.
success.
No, it's like a science project. Like literally, Hannah said something. I go, "Oh, you're going to try that science project? All right, we'll see how that turns out." Like because you have to like, what are you doing? But they're really it's sad because these kids are using all these filters and all this stuff, and I'm like, and even like people that I see that are like other health coaches, and I just stay in my lane. But it makes me crazy because you don't need a filter. Like if you're teaching people about health and you're teaching people about eating well and doing well, you walk the walk. Who cares? You don't need any filter. Like, what are you teaching your clients? Again, not being judgy, but I'm just saying, like, we have to be real. I want you to be real, then I need to be real. Because that's the truth of it.
So how can we teach our kids to set healthy boundaries to take care of their physical and emotional well-being?
I again like by modeling it, but also like what we had talked about, like putting ourselves first and showing them, okay, I need to do this first. That makes me feel good in the morning. Like let's see, these are a lot of questions, which are great. I just wanted to make sure someone look at my notes real quick. You know, yeah, by sharing with our kids that that it's okay to have emotions, but what to do with them and how to work them out. If it doesn't feel good, then you got to walk away. It's okay to say no to something that doesn't feel good to you, because the only person that really matters is you. Not in a selfish way, but in a way of like, and I think we teach people how to treat us, right? So if our kids are going, oh yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know in high school, I had those friends that were like, yeah, the yes friends, right? And I didn't respect them. And that's horrible, but it's true. You don't respect because they're always there. And it's unfortunate because you don't those are the people you should have invested in, right? We as adults know now, and a lot of therapy, right? But I,
Forget that.
yeah, right now, and a lot of therapy, we'll just say that. But they're the ones that are always there. But for some reason, we want to go after the ones that, aren't giving us what we want. So, we treat people how to treat us. So by, sticking to who you are and by sticking to your morals and, that I think I think one of my happiest moments was when one of our friends was in the mall and she was like griping about some other woman. And I couldn't believe my daughter. I was like, wow, she does listen to me. She, she goes, well, maybe God had other plans for you. This was when she was 9. I'm like, what did she say? But it's kind of cool because she's sticking up for what she believes in. Not saying that, oh, I don't have a perfect kid. I don't. I'm always, again, I don't think that. I'm not trying to pursue that. But I was just sharing an example of like teaching people. And she stopped this woman in her tracks, a grown woman, right? So I think that really is teaching them to respect themselves, to respect, their surroundings, and to be able to feel good enough in their skin to say how they feel. And really, again, it's how we teach people how to treat us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are going to take a break now. And when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into these topics. And really, as Chris was saying, if kids are not, if they do not have their boundaries set, if they do not have their self worth in check, can lead into all of the different topics we talk about. We're going to be diving into emotional eating and continue this conversation. But to watch this full episode, download the Mask Matters app. It's available on Apple and Google Play. And tune in for the next episode. Thank you again, Chris, and we'll